Welcome to this video about the Bergen dialect. Velkommen om the Bergensdialekt. This video is not to give you a complete overview of the dialect. It's more for those of you already have learned Norwegian, but you find it kind of difficult to understand people from Bergen. And so I will give you some very common expression. Particularly of the words that are used a lot. So, and naturally, because of Bergen, it's because of the history, it has slightly different dialect and some particular grammar, particularly because of the trade route it had with the European during the Middle Ages. So this is just for foreigners moving to Bergen. It's not a great overview. As we go along, I will try to go over to the Bergen sound. I don't know how successful I will be with that, but I am from Bergen, so I should be. But I'm not in the city center, so I'm not quite as strong dialect as would be useful for this video. But one thing you probably noticed, there is a lot of R's in Norwegian, and Bergen as with other sounds that can be slightly unique pronunciation. R. It's a scarring R. So if we start just with some expression, halayan instead of hey. Of course that it's quite useful, but of course there's a lot from Bergen who would just say hey. This next ones here is kinda what a person from Bergen would use, and it might be difficult to realize what it means unless you're familiar with them. So, instead of ikke instead of ikke, and then we can combine them. So, ikke det din bil, den der? Har ikke du jobbet I dag? Skal ikke du på fest I morgen? And then we use no instead of no. The rest here is just it's kind of random. The problem is, of course, if you search for Bergen dialect or Bergen expression online, you might find a lot of expression that is very uncommon. So I could just think of a few one now that is very common. Und instead of vondt. Han har ikke peiling. Å ha peiling. Å vite eller har ikke peiling means he knows nothing really. Slitan, if someone buy something new, it's very common in Bergen dialects. So instead of saying gratulerer med ny bil, slitan. Kommer ani. Kommer borti, tidig, morsomt. Yeah, but this is just more random expression, so I think we just go over to the pronoun, which of course it's much more relevant. I have to say then that there is a lot of people from Bergen, particularly in the more nicer neighborhood, upper class, might very well use these typical Oslo forms or the regular standard form in Norwegian, but the majority would probably use or would use this one. So this would be subject form, object form, for instance, I, me, so jeg, meg, instead of jeg, meg, du, deg, jeg snakker med deg, instead of du, deg, han, skal du besøke han I morgen? Yeah. So, han, ham. Yeah, it's almost the same sound. Han og han. Bit more force on the end. Hun, instead of hun, henne. Yeah. Skal du besøke hun I morgen? Yeah, for eksempel. Vi oss. Dokker. Jeg ringer til dere i morgen, for eksempel. Jeg ringer til dere i morgen. Would be there. Yeah. De, instead of de, them. Of course, the pronunciation would be the same. And of course, in Bergen, you couldn't write de. This is just more to emphasize. We would write, of course, de in written Bergen. So, yeah, de. Just the only difference then, it's the object form. Skal besøke de i morgen. Instead of jeg skal besøke dem i morgen. So it's more the vowel sounds that's different. Spørrepronomen, questioning pronouns. Again, we would write the thing here on the how it is in standard Norwegian. We wouldn't write these forms, but this is how we would speak it. So instead of, we would say hvem det, instead of hvem det. Hva gjør du, instead of hva gjør du. Hva slags bil har du? Hva slags bil har du? Hva slags bil det? Hva it's more common than kalla, so instead of hvilken. Hva slags bil din? We could also use, we often use in this one, so hva bil din, eller hva din bil, eller yeah, what is your car? But of course in bokmål we would say hvilken bil din. Hvorfor, we would standard Bergen instead of hvorfor. Hvorfor. Hvordan instead of hvordan. Hvordan. This one is kinda yeah, of course you can separate between well, in some of the context you can use either one, but yeah, but some of them, like in all dialects, some tend to be in some context one is more common like the other. For instance, like hvordan går det? Hvordan går det? It would be more common to use this. Hvordan det? Hvordan det? How so? Then it would be, in that context, it would be more useful to use this. But and this is just for you to understand when people say this would be the same as hvordan. Hvor I would use with the R, and it's more common. Når. Hvor festen? Eller hvor skal vi møtes? Når skal vi møtes? Eiendomspronomen, possessive pronouns. As you see, there's a lot of the pronouns that's different. So, min, din. Hannes, det Hannes bil, instead of det hans bil. Hundes, det hunden hundes. Det hunden hennes. Deres. Her kan vi bruke begge to. Det deres, altså you in plural. So this is not, so it's kind of confusing because standard Norwegian has the same one. So this would be you plural. Altså, det deres oppgave. That's your task in plural. Deres, eller de der sin, we get to this grammar form. Det deres oppgave. That's theirs task. And then the last part, some grammar, which is, this would probably not make it impossible for you to understand. One thing, sin genitive, gutten sin bil, it's more standard, the boy's car. We often use this sin, but this, of course, is very mixed. Personally, I'm from Bergen, but I would use the genitive that's more common in the southern part of Norway. Even though I don't know or have family from southern part of Norway, I would use guttens bil. but it's very common in Bergen, gutten sin bil. Another thing you might have noticed, or you might have remembered from the basic Norwegian class about genders. We have 3 genders, but in some dialect they only have 2. Where hankjønn, hunnkjønn, it's the same. So it technically you have hankjønn, hunnkjønn as 1, and then you have interkjønn, neutral gender. So hankjønn, hunnkjønn is 1 dialect, 1 gender. So this is not the 2 genders they have. You have hankjønn and interkjønn. It's the 2. For example, en flaske, a bottle, which would in standard Norwegian be ei flaske. And we would in Bergen conjugate it as a male noun, even though in most of Norway it would be conjugated as a female noun. And the same then also, of course, we would also say moren din instead of mora di. Okay, yeah, sorry, I guess this was kind of confusing because it seems this is not there is no female in Bergen. Another thing that's kind of odd in Bergen is that, but this is not something, because it all depends also on your name. Like we can have the definite form of names. For instance, someone who's called Thomas, in Bergen say, Thomasen. Do you know the Thomas? It would be literally translated. And it's very informal. It's quite common in Norwegian, but of course it depends on the name. Ole, we wouldn't say Olen. It would be kind of odd. So it depends on the name whether you use a definite form of it. The last part, just mention here, verb often have AR in present tense. Å kaste, jeg kaster, instead of kaster. Jeg kastet, jeg har kastet, dømme. Å dømme, jeg dømmer, jeg dømte, jeg har dømt. Å greie, jeg greier, jeg greide, jeg har greid. Telle, jeg teller, jeg talte. Talte, jeg har talt. Yeah. Okay, I hope that was just a useful brief overview. There's a lot of more dialects or expression in Bergen, but this is just for helping you get to know with the most basic differences. Thank you, and see you next video.